Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day to everyone. My name is NUR HUSNA from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Tuanku Lailatul Syahrin. As a student who favors studying language arts, reading has always been one of my deepest passions, and it has enabled me to improve my skills in the terms of vocabulary and writing skills, especially to my skills in English. Being here with you today is for me to share with you one of my most favorite books of all time. As a reader, I have read all kinds of books and can easily adapt with different genres, but out of all books that I have read, this is the only one that sticks out and has left a significant impact on me. As you can see, the title of the book is The Secret Lives of Introverts Inside Our Hidden World, written by Jen Greneman. Now, if you look at the cover of the book, you must be wondering what's the meaning behind all of these fishes on it, right? Well, fishes are actually the perfect symbolization for introverts in our world. As we know, fishes are usually the animal who swim together in a pack, but did you know fishes are actually the kind of animal who prefers solitude and seeks for a quiet environment? Now let's hop into the book, shall we? At the beginning of this book, Jen tells her readers of how she finds out she is an introvert and how she faces her social challenges emotionally, mentally, and physically. At the start of this book, during Jen's days in her school, Jen isn't really the type of person who would march up to someone to start a conversation because she is afraid of making a bad impression towards them. Because of this, she would usually just sits by herself instead of talking to someone because she would wait for someone to come up to her and start the conversation instead. She prefers of making the first impression quite a memorable and a good one instead of making a terrible mistake. Although this happens and Jen has the fear of starting a conversation, you must be wondering how she handles herself in class. Despite of being afraid of starting a conversation, Jen actually gets splendid marks in her class. Whenever the teacher would pair her up with a partner or even a group of classmates, Jen usually volunteers herself of doing the paperwork or even slides. Jen refuses to do any work that requires any speaking in front of the whole class. You must be wondering if she ever feels lonely because of this. Well, actually, Jen tells her readers of how this feeling can actually be a universal feeling. This is because Jen finds herself a friend who feels exactly the same of her, of how she feels. They both have the same fear of saying the wrong thing and being the joke in front of the whole class, and the whole class being able to make fun of them. Although these experiences already haunts Jen's life during her days in school, when she arrives in college, there were more eye-opening experiences that were memorable to her as well. Whenever her friends would go out on a girls' day out, Jen usually pushes herself out there to be able to hang out with her friends more. Although Jen doesn't really talk a lot during their hangout, Jen feels as if whenever she's with her friends, she is able to improve her introverted self more. She felt as if her social skills would develop if she communicate with her friends more outside. Although Jen would feel immensely drained and tired from hanging out with her friends outside. So, when Jen spends her times at home, during the times where Jen spends her times by herself at home, Jen actually finds comfort and joy instead of going out and making communications with people who she doesn't even want to. Jen tells her readers at the end of this book that introverts should really stay true to themselves and not pretend to be who they're not, to be able to please people who don't even care about their appearance. As I finished reading this book, I found myself feeling very mutual and a deep connection with the author herself, because I feel as if I have experienced the same thing that the author did herself. I don't think this book needs any improvement because it is already as good as it is. In conclusion, I think this book is truly a good one because it tells the world of how introverts face their social challenges differently from extroverts and ambiverts. I would truly recommend this book to my friends because it is such a good book and it teaches a lot for us. That is all from me. Thank you for listening to my passion about this book.